Donnie Anderson, and also the Deputy Attorney General and Chief of our Criminal Justice Division, Dane Towery. As Attorney General of this great state, my top priority is the safety of all Oklahomans. Oklahomans will not tolerate lawlessness or illegal marijuana grow operations. I want to thank our multi-county grand jury for their hard work and my Criminal Justice Division, who will be handling the prosecution. I also want to thank the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics for their hard work and dedication in this investigation. The charges filed today are consistent with the multi-county grand jury indictment against 2 Oklahoma attorneys accused of facilitating illegal marijuana operations. The information that I give you today is according to the affidavit filed with the court in Garvin County. The month-long investigation into the Jones Brown law firm was initiated by the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. It revealed that Logan Jones and Eric Brown directed medical marijuana businesses to sign consulting agreements with Jones Brown's employees, who would act as ghost owners of the medical marijuana operations. You know that according to Oklahoma law, for an entity to be licensed, it has to be 75% owned by an Oklahoma resident. And if it's an individual who is going to get the license, that individual has to be an Oklahoma resident. The consulting agreements that the client of that law firm would pay would call for them to pay $3,000 per license to the law firm, for the law firm to provide the consultant who would serve as the Oklahoma resident, so the client could obtain their Oklahoma medical marijuana license. It was discovered through the investigation that over 400 marijuana grows in the state of Oklahoma listed the Jones Brown law firm employees as the 75% owners. According to the affidavit that was filed, these attorneys circumvented the law and provided false information to the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority and to the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, which resulted in the unlawful cultivation of marijuana in Oklahoma. Logan Jones and Eric Brown are each charged with the following: 1 count of conspiracy to cultivate a controlled dangerous substance, 6 counts of offering false or forged instruments for recordation, 3 counts of cultivation of a controlled dangerous substance, and 1 count of a pattern of criminal offense. These charges brought today should send a loud and clear message to anyone engaging in criminal operations in Oklahoma that we will find you and we will prosecute you. My office is committed to eradicating these illegal operators, and we will continue to hold those facilitating illegal marijuana operations accountable. The law was written to support, in this respect, Oklahoma businesses or businesses owned by Oklahomans. By enforcing the law as written, the goals of the legislature will be carried out to promote Oklahoma economic growth. The Attorney General's office, along with our law enforcement partners, are ready to take a stand against this lawlessness and against illegal marijuana grow operations. We respect the criminal justice process. Both of the individuals charged in this information are innocent until proven guilty before a jury of their peers. I will now turn it over to OBN Director Donnie Anderson.
Thank you, General, and thank you, Dane. and to the rest of the staff at the AG's office who worked tirelessly on this case with us. A little over 2 years ago, first off, this case was a little over 14 months. It's a little over a year. This is a conspiracy case that we were investigating. Conspiracies take anywhere between a year to 2 years to investigate, to complete, to bring it to where it can even be prosecuted. We're able to do this, thankfully, because we've also had assistance from our folks at the Capitol. I can't say enough thanks to Senator Thompson, who made sure that we had additional funding to stand up these units who do nothing but investigate the illegal market or the illicit market here in Oklahoma in reference to the medical marijuana. If anyone's paid any attention, the last couple of years we've been in an epidemic. We've been in an epidemic for a while in reference to opioids, methamphetamine, and now fentanyl. We can't let those, it's just an added burden that we're having to deal with. We can't let those things go as well. These cases take an extreme amount of time to do and put together. As you know, we do have a legal medical marijuana industry here in Oklahoma. It's really easy to set up and abide by our statute, but we still have people who thumb their nose at it, and they want to come in because they're criminal organizations. They're international, national organizations coming into Oklahoma and setting up shop to exploit our laws. We have diligently been working on this. We have hundreds of cases going on as we speak. We will continue these investigations. I do think this is a clear message. You have to understand it doesn't matter what part of this organization you fall under. If you participate, if you aid or you abet anyone in this operation to further this criminal organization, whether you're laundering money, sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you will be held accountable in these conspiracies. We will continue these investigations. I can't speak in detail about this particular case. It does have to be prosecuted, and there is some ongoing things in reference to this case. I appreciate y'all being here. I do appreciate our partners from the sheriff's departments and even Commissioner Tipton. Whenever we're eradicating these organizations, these operations, when it comes to the day of actually taking these farms down, they're both there always to help us, and we couldn't do it by ourselves. So I really appreciate our partners in the law enforcement community that's helping us when it comes to that time. I'm going to kick it back over to the general. If I'll be around if anyone has any questions after we're through. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. It has been estimated that Oklahoma illegally exports 80+% of the marijuana that is grown in Oklahoma, and that Oklahoma is now the #1 supplier of marijuana in the United States. So we are, that gives you an idea of the scope of the problem that has come about as a result of the legislation. And as the Director said, we support those Oklahoma individuals and businesses who are in this business legally. They want the criminals arrested and prosecuted and out of our state as well. So we'll take questions at this time.
You mentioned that there were over 400 licenses associated with law firms. Were those all deemed illegal fronts, or do you know how many?
We don't know. In fact, I could turn that over to the Director and see if he knows.
First off, understand, people are getting these licenses. On face value, they look legitimate. It takes extensive investigation. One, you have to prove that the product's going out of the state, which takes a very long time to do that. Now, people are fraudulently obtaining license because they're claiming that someone is a 75% owner that is not. They're paying individuals to get a license in their name. So that's the first part on the fraudulent, what we're calling ghost structuring. So that's one of the first parts. But if you walk into one of these grows, on face value, like OMA's caught some criticism over this. This isn't OMA's fault, because when you walk in and they inspect these, everything is in line. It looks legitimate. You have to do an investigation. You have to prove that that product is going out of state. Then you start linking it back to who all is involved and how they set up that structure. It literally took us 14 months on this one case. There's some we've been working on even longer.
How
So
involved with Dawn in the beginning on this one case?
it's through our investigations. It is simply from us investigating things that just doesn't look right to us.
Did 400 look not right? Would that raise a red flag at all? Or?
Well, for example, if you had 400 licenses in your name, I would be very skeptical. Or if you had 40 licenses in your name, that's going to raise a red flag. There's several indicators to us. Obviously, I don't want to talk about all of them, but there is several things that they do that does raise red flags to us. It's just time consuming, and it takes a lot of work on these type of cases. Because once again, and any attorneys that's listening to me, they'll tell you a conspiracy case is a very hard case to work because it takes time, and they're very time consuming.
Do you believe some of these licenses are representing foreign entities, foreign individuals?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any other, do you believe this is going on with other law firms? I mean, you said this is just one investigation, you have others going on. You think this is common practice with others?
Well, obviously, if we're conducting other investigations, I can't talk about that. We are conducting other investigations, I'll tell you that. Numerous. I mean, we have hundreds of investigations going. We actually only have probably 20 people who are doing these investigations. We have over 8,000 licenses. So, I mean, this is a mountain we're trying to climb.
How bad of a black eye does this give Oklahoma, knowing that we are now the #1 state in exporting illegally?
Well, obviously, it's not something we're proud of. I don't think Oklahoma is proud of it. And if you get outside the metro, because I go all over the state talking to people all the time. I'm in front of people because I'm requested to speak. Rural Oklahoma is fed up with this. Between rural Oklahoma and the legitimate business people in our state, they've had it with the illegal. I mean, our biggest information source comes from our legitimate owners, our legitimate market, because it is driving this market into the ground. It is killing the legitimate market is what it's doing.
What's next for the law firm? Shut down?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure they'll defend their system vigorously, and Dane will be prosecuting them and prosecuting the case. So I don't know what strategy they'll adopt. That'll be up to them.
Do you know if they're going to use their license or anything like that?
Well, I suspect that this will be reported to the OBA, and then the OBA will have an investigation.
Do you plan to go after those that they represented? Maybe they're front for other individuals? I mean, do you?
And I don't know, frankly, whether that's a part of the investigation. You're talking about the foreign owners.
Well, foreign or whatever they might be, but whoever they're representing that's shipping out.
Yeah, I'll just defer to the director on that.
As I stated earlier, anyone that's involved in this process, that's who is involved in the conspiracy. So if you have anything to do with this market that's illegal, you will be held accountable. So it doesn't matter who you are.
So ballpark, how many people are facing these charges?
In reference to this case, that is not something I can discuss. I'm sorry.
For the investigators, did it seem completely out of left field that this was happening within a law firm in terms of legal practice?
Our investigators work tirelessly on this, and they're continuing to on various cases. I don't think we're surprised by anything, because once again, money is what drives this. So, and that's what fuels this whole thing. And actually, right now, because we have mass-produced so much marijuana, the money to be made is on the illicit market. The price is driven down so much, it's killing our legitimate businesses, that the money to be made, and that's why we're seeing so many international criminal organizations come into our state this last 2 years to set up shop, because they're criminals to begin with. They don't care. They'll come in and they'll pay for the license, and everything looks good on paper. That's why you have to do these in-depth investigations. This isn't something that someone could go do an inspection and say, hey, this is just an illegal deal. On face value, they're legal. It becomes illegal when they move product out of the state, or if they set up these businesses as a ghost owner.
All right, thank you all. And I'm going to send out the charging documents and the release shortly.
Thank you very much.